Robots are one of my favorite media tropes, and I thought it would be neat to look at some of the main differences I noticed between their depictions in American media versus those in Japanese media. It's important to consider that the ways in which media depicts things affects the real world, and vice versa. How we view things in real life often affects their media portrayals. Japan has become the world's superpower in robotics, investing plenty of funds and resources into their development and application. This could be partly due to their country's rapidly aging population, low birth rate, and restrictive immigration policies, all of which have left gaps in their workforce. Japan's choice to look towards automation to solve their problems is telling of how the country fundamentally views this kind of technology. According to the BBC, Japan has a, quote, very long history of embracing robots, not fearing them, end quote. This is a difference from how robots have largely been viewed in Western cultures like the United States. American media often depicts robots and artificial intelligence as inherently malevolent and destructive, and also as quirky sidekicks or servants. In much of our science fiction, humanity is threatened or nearly destroyed by some sort of robotic evil. Some movies will retain the evil robots as antagonists, but spice things up a bit by also including a robotic hero. Films like Transformers, RoboCop, WALL-E, and even further Terminator installments all show more sympathetic, heroic robots, who are often more humanistic in nature and appearance, defeating the more unfeeling and inorganic robotic antagonists. Seems to be some sort of branching off point in American science fiction to me, where at least in some cases robots become more complex and interesting characters. I can't help but wonder if the rise in popularity of anime, which typically shows technology in a far more nuanced way, helped to inspire this trend. Japan has long loved the robotic hero. Astro Boy, considered to be the first anime TV series, follows a robot boy named Adam. Mecha is an anime genre that depicts giant fighting robots controlled by people. In these stories, the protagonists are the ones using this kind of tech. These mechas are usually anthropomorphized in some way. They're most often bipedal and have rather humanoid or animalistic appearances. Mecha animes usually show a far more symbiotic relationship between humanity and technology than that which is featured throughout most of American media. For example, in Neon Genesis Evangelion, technological and biological elements influence one another to the point that the injury the EVA robot suffers affects the human pilot as well. Through this phantom pain and other various plotlines surrounding the pilot's relationship with their EVAs, this particular anime explores the connection between the mind and body. This link is likewise explored in Ghost in the Shell, in which the world is full of cybernetic individuals. This story ponders consciousness in a world where humanity and technology have become intrinsically linked. While American media continues to use AI and robots in a rather apocalyptic and other-than way, Japanese media seems to argue for the merging of the human and the digital into a new combined state of being. The tech in Western media serves as a tool, something to be used and controlled, with a nasty little habit of overthrowing their human masters and taking over the world. Robots in American media are more and more being used in ways to explore the human condition, but for the most part, they are things still devoid of humanity and therefore objects of terrible power that should be dreaded and destroyed. Mecha embraces robotics, seeing it as an inevitable step in our evolution and therefore something that shouldn't be a massive source of fear and angst. Many of their stories explore the fusion of tech and humanity, how the two influence and shape one another into something new. To me, this is a really interesting concept, and one that seems more realistic when we consider how actual machine learning works, as well as how much technology has already impacted and altered our lives, societies, and behaviors. There has been a cultural and artistic exchange between the United States and Japan for decades, with various works all influencing one another in a back and forth of ideas and styles. Some anime shows are even readapted and reimagined by American studios. Nowadays, with anime and manga being so popular and well known to most Americans, even more of its influence can be seen. The American film Pacific Rim takes direct inspiration from the mecha and kaiju monster film genres, creating a fresh and unique story based off the tropes of its Japanese inspirations. I wasn't aware of how directly it was inspired by mecha anime, and it was really cool to learn about all of this, as I'm a huge fan of that film. I even have my own little Jaeger. I hope this exchange of concepts and aesthetics continues between America and Japan, and I really look forward to seeing what the next generation of science fiction brings.